Today, I will be discussing the Age of Exploration. In this presentation, I will be hitting learning targets 5 and 6. To begin, we will first talk about Henry the Navigator. He was born in Porto, Portugal in 1394, and he was actually not a sailor. Prince Henry the Navigator sponsored many expeditions along the coast of West Africa. Henry is regarded as the originator of the Age of Discovery and the Atlantic slave trade. So some facts about Henry is that he established a school for navigation, map making, and shipbuilding in 1420. Another fact is that his goal was to find the route to the rich spice trade of the Indies and to explore the west coast of Africa. Bartolomeu Dias was a Portuguese explorer born 1450 and he died in May 29, 1500 at sea. He was a navigator and explorer who led the first European expedition to round the Cape of Good Hope. And as seen in this map, the black arrow points to the Cape of Good Hope. He opened the sea route to Asia via the Atlantic and Indian Oceans. He is usually considered to be the greatest of the Portuguese pioneers who explored the Atlantic during the 15th century. He matters because he opened a sea route to Asia. Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama sailed from Lisbon in 1497 on a mission to reach India and open a sea route from Europe to the east. After sailing down the western coast of Africa and rounding the Cape of Good Hope, his expedition made stops in Africa before reaching the trading post of Calcutta, India, in May 1498. He matters because he opened a major sea route. In this map, it shows his travels. Christopher Columbus. Now, Christopher Columbus is considered one of the most famous of these explorers. He was an Italian explorer hoping to find a new route to India. Between 1492 and 1504, he made a total of 4 voyages to the Caribbean and South America and has been credited for opening up the Americas to the European colonization. Why does he matter? Well, Christopher Columbus was the first after the Vikings to discover the New World. His discovery led to the European colonization in America. Amerigo Vespucci. Explorer Amerigo Vespucci was born March 9, 1451, in Florence, Italy. On May 10, 1497, he went on his first voyage. On his third and most successful voyage, he discovered present-day Rio de Janeiro, believing he had discovered a new continent. He called South America the New World. In 1507, America was named after him. Treaty of Tordesillas. It was on June 7, 1494, and it was an agreement between Spain and Portugal aimed at settling conflicts over lands newly discovered or explored by Christopher Columbus and other late 15th century voyagers. Ferdinand Magellan. Portuguese explorer Ferdinand Magellan set out from Spain in 1519 with a fleet of 5 ships to discover a western sea route to the Spice Islands. He became the first European to cross the Pacific Ocean, which is a huge deal. The Northwest Passage. The Northwest Passage is a sea route that connects the Atlantic to the Pacific Oceans. A lot of explorers initially went out searching for the Northwest Passage. Jacques Cartier. French navigator Jacques Cartier was born December 31, 1491, in Saint-Malo, Brittany, France, and was sent by King Francis I to the New World in search of riches and a new route to Asia in 1534. His exploration of the St. Lawrence River allowed France to lay claims to the lands that would become Canada. Why does he matter? If it wasn't for him to take on the challenge of going on this voyage, there would be no such thing as Canada as we know it today. Samuel de Champlain. Samuel de Champlain was a French explorer and cartographer best known for establishing and governing the settlements of New France and the city of Quebec. What is his significance, you might ask? Samuel de Champlain mapped out the Great Lakes, which is a major part of the United States today. Jacques Marquette and Louise. They undertook an expedition to explore the unsettled territory in North America from the Great Lakes region to the Gulf of Mexico for the tour of France. Leaving with several men in 2 bark canoes, Marquette and Joliet entered the Mississippi River and arrived in present-day Arkansas in June 1673. They matter because they found an entire new land for Europeans to settle in. Sir Walter Raleigh was an English adventurer and writer who established a colony near Roanoke Island in present-day North Carolina. Pilgrims and Puritans. The Pilgrims were a group of approximately 100 English people, primarily working class, and they traveled to America in 1620 and settled in Plymouth. Puritans were a larger group of English immigrants, primarily upper or middle class, and they traveled to America 10 years after the Pilgrims. They also settled in Massachusetts Bay Colony. New Netherlands and New France. New Netherlands were not interested in colonization, but they were interested in trade and all the riches the New World had to offer. New France, on the other hand, originally came to find the Northwest Passage, but later they came to develop the fur trade. Furs were thriving in business in Europe. So, why do all these people matter? Well, if it wasn't for the age of exploration, the world would not be like it is today. There'd be no such thing as the Americas. But because of these explorers, we live in the world we do today. Thank you for taking the time to listen to this presentation, and thank you for watching.